Let's talk about pie charts. Hey everybody, welcome to The Practical Place. My name is Ryan Holguin and I'm a certified project management professional. And today I want to walk through and talk to you about a pie chart and what it is and when the best case is to use this. So if you've seen my past two videos where I talk about how to use a stacked bar chart and how to use a bar chart, you know I love the NFL and you know I love football. So today in my example of a pie chart, I'm going to be looking through football stats to make things a little bit more fun, just because it's not as fun sometimes when you look at, in my opinion, it's not as fun whenever you have to look at sales dollars or budget allocation or things like that. Although a lot of the times where you're at, you're probably going to be working with those things. But since we're doing this and it's my video, I figured I'd make it fun. So the best way that I think of to describe a pie chart is it's going to be pieces of a whole. So let's say you want to talk about budget allocation. Your business leader is asking you for your budget and how spending's going. So you want to be able to show them pieces of a whole in which where your money's allocated. You want to stick around 5 to 6 categories when it comes to representing this. It's going to be a circular graph that's going to show slices of different categories. So if you're a budget and let's say you have a marketing budget and you're going to say, well, 50% of it was spent on video, 20% was spent on social media, so forth and so on, then a pie chart might be a good option as to how to visually represent that data to your leaders. So, and if you're familiar with this channel, you know when I talk about charts and data, a lot of the times it's going to be for the audience of a leader of a business or an organization. And so you want to make sure you pick the best chart and not overthink it, but you want to make sure you pick the best chart so that your leader can see your dashboard or see the data you're trying to visualize and understand quickly what you're trying to say. So let's go ahead and hop on over to my screen and get into my example. And since I'm a Tennessee Titans fan, unfortunately this year, we're going to be talking about the Tennessee Titans and we're going to compare them to the Detroit Lions and look at the different ways in which they scored touchdowns this year using a pie chart. All right, so in my example, I'm going to be using Smartsheet again. If you're familiar with my videos, that's typically the platform I use, but the same rules apply to Excel or any other spreadsheet based platform that you're going to be using. So just because I'm using Smartsheet, don't let that, discourage you from trying to implement this into your own business or in your workplace. So as I said, we're going to be talking about pie charts and we're going to be looking at the Tennessee Titans and the Detroit Lions. So the Tennessee Titans, they were closer to the bottom of all the NFL teams this year as far as the number of touchdowns and points scored this year. And so I want to compare what the different types of touchdowns that they scored this year versus the Detroit Lions, which scored the most touchdowns in the league this year in the regular season with a total of 70. So as you can see, Detroit Lions have 70. Tennessee Titans have 33. So what I want to do is I want to visually represent the different types of touchdowns that each of these teams scored using a pie chart. So I have my data here. Each category is in a different column. As you can see, the total here, and then you have rushing and passing. And so let me tab over to my other screen here where I have my dashboard set up. As always, I'm going to get started, go to my chart. You want to get your data. You want to find the data you're looking for. Go to pie chart sample here for me. So the way that I'm going to select it here is I have my categories. Like I said, per column is a category. So I'm going to highlight rushing and passing this section here. As you can see, they were a pretty limited offense this year, or a pretty limited team as far as scoring in different ways. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this Titans. I'm going to change some of this real quick. And as you can see, Smartsheet defaulted this to a pie chart. A donut chart is pretty similar as well. It's going to do the same type of representation or visualization as a pie chart would, except for it's just a different look. So either way you can use it. A pie or a donut chart is going to kind of look doing the same thing, but they just look a little different. So I want to show the amount of what I had here. As you can see, it was 33 total. So 22 plus 11, just to double check your math, is 33. So you know that this is the right data I'm working with. You always want to make sure you double check your numbers when it comes to data. At least for me, I'm very mindful of that. And I always want to, if I'm always pulling from the same bucket or the same table of data, I want to make sure that the math always lines up. It's really easy to let that fall by the wayside because maybe you don't think people are going to double check that, or you just might forget, but it's always good to kind of double check all your work. All right, so that's that. I'm going to copy this, select Lions, type in Lions here. This defaulted to this column or this bar chart. I'm going to go to a pie chart. And let me try to make this one a little bit bigger because these data points are so small, 1 and 1 each. Interception return and a punt return, it kind of makes it a little hard to read, but that's better when you get rid of the percentages. So let me try to make this about the same size. All right, so if I'm comparing these two teams and I'm just looking for the versatility of a team and how the ability for them to be able to score in different ways, as you can see here, the Titans scored 67 or 22 touchdowns by way of passing and 11 or 33% of their touchdowns by rushing. So rushing, passing were their two ways that they chose to score this year or that they were able to. And if I'm looking at the Lions, they had a lot more more. So they had a little bit over half, so 56% or 39% of their touchdowns were passing. So they're more of a pass-heavy team, or they were about a pass-heavy team, just like the Titans were. And rushing was 29 touchdowns for them, or 41%. And then as you can see, the defense contributed with an interception return touchdown, and then their special teams with the punt return touchdown. And I want to say, if I remember, that was against the Titans. So this is a little bit hard for me for a video to make. So if you would just do me a favor and like this video, just to make me feel a little bit better about this. But this is a fun example of how to look at different slices of a pie. So in this case, I'm looking in the pot of total touchdowns that each team scored, and I'm seeing how each type of way they scored is split up using this pie chart visually. So like I said, if you want to do this using a budget, this would be a good way to do that. If you have a different category for the way you spent, so you had social media, video, paid ads, etc., that would be a good way to do this. If you wanted to do sales by business unit, you could have business unit 1, 2, 3, 4, and you could see how it's split up. So you can see, what is your biggest money maker? Where do you need to throw some more resources at to be able to help it grow? But this is a very easy and hopefully fun way that you can see how to use a pie chart. So that's a basic example of how to use a pie chart, and I hope you found it helpful. Let me know in the comments below if this is something that you found useful, or if you already have an idea of how you're going to implement a pie chart where you're at. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss a video here when we post it. Again, I'm Ryan Holguin with The Practical Place, where project management meets real life. I will see you in the next video.